the class on the gift of dyslexia.
Dyslexia. The moment I use the word dyslexia, the first time when a parent comes to me and we complete an analysis and we see a child is being diagnosed with dyslexia, see it from their point of view, not what you and me know or what you and me think about it.
What's it like being dyslexic?
Oh, no. Oh, I'm going to be late. Oh, no.
At school, Tom sits at the back. Copy down tonight's homework.
It seems to take me twice as long to copy it down.
Everyone finished? Right, turn to page 73.
Everyone else has, but I haven't finished yet. If I say anything, I'll look stupid.
We start with the facts. Because I know we are practitioners and educators here, these facts mean something to us. We're saying to you that if you meet 20 people in your class, in your workplace, wherever you go, fact is 1 out of 20 people might have dyslexia. That's the global figure. But we don't consciously walk around thinking this way. But this is something that we must bear in mind as practitioners. 1 in 20 people you are with, 1 in 20. Now, in the class, if you have a class of 20, at least 1 in 5 might have dyslexia. Yes. So that's the type of thing we find out when we're doing diagnosis and having a conversation with the children daily. Now, let's focus attention on types of dyslexia. Now, broadly speaking, there are 2 types of dyslexia. One of them is called developmental dyslexia. And this is tied closely to the process of the brain development. Now, the symptoms of developmental dyslexia show up in the impairment of the brain. So the brain has developed normally, but in a way that makes it more difficult for the child to acquire learning skills in the same way that other children do. They have a normal brain, but then they have challenges, the cognitive skills that enable people to process information for learning is delayed. It's delayed because there is a developmental delay. What are the first signs you see in terms of the developmental delays? Maybe when the child is still about 9 months old, is unable to sit, is unable to crawl, is unable to speak at the age of 2. And then they get to school, and in the kindergarten years, they are unable. Now let's look at the classifications of dyslexia based on the cognitive deficit. I say to people, and I want you to take this statement seriously, behind every learning struggle is a cognitive deficiency. Behind every learning struggle, irrespective of what name it is called, there's a cognitive deficiency that is responsible for that. Now, what are the results of all of this? Now, one of the things we can achieve when you come, now, if we start from diagnosis, especially early diagnosis, you come to that point where you see that this person has dyslexia. So what are the gifts of dyslexia? This is where we started. Dyslexia is a very important gift, and I'd like you to understand this. This is one of the things we're talking about. Because most times, as my colleague Amberin said, sometimes we go into diagnosis. When my son was diagnosed for dyslexia, I was, what's that? What kind of situation is this? But the point is that, again, we as practitioners should be able to present the alternative view of the gift of dyslexia.
So this is the most important thing. When we talk about 21st century, we're talking about children who can do applications of learning, transfer of learning, okay? And when you look at from a child who has dyslexia, it comes naturally for them to go out of box and look for answers. They're not looking at existing ways of doing things. They're looking at a newer and innovative ways of doing things. So technically, they are mapped in a way which we want a 21st century learner to be.
People have asked a similar question, that is dyslexia visual or cognitive? Mr. Adam asks, and also that what are the cognitive deficiencies that cause dyslexia? So these are two questions that has come up. Mr. Ben, would you like to address them?
Okay. So let's take that and say, is dyslexia cognitive or visual?
Yeah.
From my point of view, it is both. Because visualization is one of the cognitive skills. Again, if you follow, when you go into details of what Ms. Amber shared with us, you will see whether a child is figural, and then that skill can be developed. So again, it's a cognitive skill within the totality of the skills that are required to be improved in order for the person to successfully manage their dyslexia. So one of the things we say is that early identification and support is very important. So if you identify early and then you provide the intervention, it is very possible to then build those skills and make them stronger to the point where the person can now then unleash on the benefits and the gifts of dyslexia.